Hey, this is Jimmy, the host of the Internet Explorers podcast, your late-night internet spirit animal in human form. And I'm inviting you to come check out my show where we venture into the wildest corners of the internet to study strange happenings, media hoaxes, and weird science. You know, the fun stuff.
2, 3, 4, Internet Explorers podcast!
Tuning wherever reality is optional.
Plug in, tune out, and get lost.
Content warning for profanity, hospital death scene, alcohol use, and adult themes. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 12, A Good Death. I apologize for the voice quality during this recording. I'm still fighting off a pretty bad cold, but I'm going to try to power through. We now join our hero Wendell at the 6-month mark of his 12 months of residency. And he lately has been given several shifts on the General Hospital inpatient unit. He enjoyed the work, mostly, although it wasn't the same pace as the emergency department he enjoyed so much. He liked spending more time with his patients. And one particular patient in particular, Mrs. Salazar. She was about 3 feet tall at most, had dark, curious eyes and a pale face, and was covered in golden fur. Her long toes were almost as dexterous as her long fingers. One might find her completing 2 crosswords at the same time, with one newspaper held in her hands and one in her feet, and she often solved 2 crosswords faster than others could get through one. Unfortunately, she was dying, and dying quickly, from a rare autoimmune disease with no cure. And Wendell didn't know how to handle it. That morning, he went into her room. She was resting quietly under her covers. At first, he couldn't tell if she was breathing, and he crept closer in. She did not stir. He went to touch the unmoving form under the covers when it let out a low moan and said, "You're next, Dr. Glick." Wendell shrieked and jumped back, shielding himself with his clipboard.
Oh, I'm sorry, Doctor. I couldn't help myself. And not to second-guess your clinical expertise, but my monitor was still going. If you're not going to trust your gadgets, why use them?
Mrs. Salazar was a big fan of gadgets, probably because she had spent her life inventing them. Hell, she probably designed these monitors. Wendell loved to sit with her and hear stories of things she and her wife had invented over the years. They were part of a team of scientists that had created a revolutionary type of capacitor. However, it required a lot of energy, 1.21 gigawatts. He took a history of how she had been doing, not well, did a physical exam, getting worse, and reviewed her overnight labs, horrendous. But Mrs. Salazar's spirit was high. She looked horrible. One could tell her body was betraying her. She felt horrible, every movement was agony, but she was so calm, so content. "Can I ask you a question, Mrs. Salazar?"
Of course, Doctor.
Why are you so happy? You're dying.
So are you. I'm just better at it right now.
Wendell pulled up a chair and sat next to her. "But aren't you scared? If I can ask, the Grim Reaper and all."
I don't know that term.
"Oh, sorry. On Earth we have the Grim Reaper. It's a dark, hooded figure with a scythe, like a long blade on a stick, that comes to snatch you away."
Oh, that sounds terrifying.
"Well, yeah. Death is terrifying, right?"
Does it have to be?
"Sure, so people don't want it, I guess."
Well, I've not been afraid of dying, but it doesn't mean I'm in a hurry to get there. I worry for my wife, our kids, and our grandchildren after I'm gone. But fearing death doesn't stop it from happening, does it?
May I ask another question? She gave him a serious look.
Dr. Glick, I don't have much time left. If you have something to ask, just ask.
What do you think about death? Well, what is it? She appraised Wendell and thought. Then she said,
Death is my oldest friend. It's been the only one with me every moment since I was born. I've always imagined it as a kindly old soul resting in a chair, maybe eating popcorn and watching my life like a movie. I always imagined it cheered my wins, cried my losses, but it stuck with me along this whole wonderful journey I've had. And now it's time now it's time to hand me the key.
She began a coughing fit and had to stop. When she recovered, she pulled out her necklace and showed a small metal key. What's the... Wendell was about to ask, but Mrs. Salazar began another coughing fit and needed to rest. Never mind. Would you like some water or a lozenge? He got her both and told her he would check back later and left. The next morning, Wendell went to check in and get his script. So St. Tetanus Medical Center gained revenue by making doctors and nurses read advertising copy to patients as they were doing their morning rounds. That day's sponsor was Tabascine eye drops, the only eye drops that are also a delicious hot sauce. In addition, the backs of all lab coats had Velcro to attach print ads. Wendell first checked on Mr. Funkster, a semi-aquatic alien who had been hospitalized with type 4 hodgepodge liver. Nurse Doug, short, green-skinned, and no-nonsense, finished setting up the IV medications.
We need to read the ad real quick. I've got a ton of other patients to get to. You want to be person A or person B?
I haven't read the script yet, so either way, I'll be person B, I guess.
Okay.
Hi there, insert name. Oh, sorry. Hi there, Nurse Doug. What are you holding?
Hello, Dr. Glick. This is Tabascine eye drops. The only eye drops that double as a delicious hot sauce. And they gave us free samples to use today.
Nurse Doug held up a small red bottle. Wow, I hear Tabascine tastes great. Why don't you try it?
Okay, Dr. Glick. I'll try it for great taste, and you try it to soothe your eyes.
What?
Read the script. We have to follow the script exactly, or the hospital won't get paid.
But I don't.
Mr. Funkster called out, Speak up, doctor! I couldn't hear the last line. Oh, this is so good. You have to read the script. Let's just get this over with.
Doug pulled out a small bag of tortilla chips, dabbed some hot sauce on one, and took a bite.
Zesty and tasty. Now, put some in your eyes.
Doug handed a reluctant Wendell the small red bottle with a picture of hot peppers on it.
Go on, Dr. Glick.
Wendell nervously read the script, hoping for a loophole. Yes, my dry eyes bother me every day. But why be just a spice seeker when you can also be a spice seer? No, I don't want to.
Wendell, I have 7 more patients to tend to, and we're not getting anywhere with your negative attitude. You chose which part you wanted.
but I hadn't read the script. I want to trade back.
Tough. Do it so we can get on with rounds.
Okay. I'll just put a small drop in my... Ah! Son of a bitch! Oh, god damn it! Oh, that burns! Oh, fuck! Oh, mother shitter! Wendell, blinded, held his face and stumbled around the small hospital room. I have to rinse it out! Where's the... He found a small metal fountain near the door. An eye wash fountain.
Wendell, that's the...
Shut up! You made me do this.
Wendell, no, that's the... That's the hot sauce fountain.
Why do we even have this?
Come on, Dr. Glick. Stop playing around and say the last lines and let's finish.
Tabasco soothes my eyes. Buy it today. Mr. Funkster clapped enthusiastically while Wendell fell to the ground holding his crying face. Doug helped Wendell up and said,
See? Not so bad. Only 7 more patients to go.
Wendell finally finished rounds and met the other residents for lunch. None of them had red, puffy eyes and faces. Turns out Tabasco didn't require the product to be used. Wendell could have just pretended to use it. He made a mental note to thank Nurse Doug later. The hospital overhead called a medical emergency. It was Mrs. Salazar's room. Wendell rushed to her room and found Mrs. Salazar's wife, their 4 adult children, and the hospital pastor, Reverend Marv, standing around the bed. Nurse Doug moved around the bed checking IVs and medications. Dr. Bluebell was the day's staff doctor and soon came into the room, slightly out of breath. He tugged at Wendell's arm and whispered, Mrs. Salazar liked you a lot, young doctor, and specifically asked that you care for her. I'm right here if you need me. Nurse Doug read off the monitor and gave an update. The monitor was beeping slower than before. Wendell said hello to the family, and they moved aside to let him in. Mrs. Salazar looked up at the ceiling and blinked, but did not seem to notice people around her. The room telephone rang, and one of the children answered. It's Uncle Teddy. Is it okay if he talks to her? He can't travel and wanted to call her before... Wendell nodded yes and put the telephone receiver to Mrs. Salazar's ears. She did not seem to notice.
Sissy? It's Teddy, Sissy.
She may not be able to answer you, sir, Wendell replied towards the receiver.
Sissy, when you get to the next place, I want you to confess to Ma and Pa, okay? You tell them all the rotten things you did to me when we were kids, okay?
The room let out small laughs and sniffles.
I love you, Sissy.
Mrs. Salazar blinked at the ceiling.
Goodbye, Sissy. I have to go now.
Wendell hung up the phone. He felt Mrs. Salazar's pulse, and the monitor was beeping even slower. He turned the monitor off, even though it had just been fed coins, and there was still 8 minutes left on the meter. Mrs. Salazar breathed slower and slower. Wendell and Nurse Doug moved to a corner of the room with Dr. Bluebell. There if the family needed them, but not much there left for them to do. The pastor began reading from some text Wendell had not heard of before. He watched as the family put the small key off Mrs. Salazar's necklace into her hand, as if by dying she was unlocking a door to the next place. Wendell stood quietly in the corner as each family member held Mrs. Salazar's hand, gave her a hug and a kiss, whispered their goodbyes, and silently left the room. Before leaving, Wendell, eyes wet from more than hot sauce, approached his patient, took her already cool hand in his, and whispered thank you. That evening, Mrs. Salazar felt lighter, like feeling better after recovering from a nasty cold. She sat in a chair and looked at her body under a sheet on the bed. A few people had come in to tend to business, but nobody was able to see or hear her. She tried looking in the mirror to see if she looked the same as when she was alive, but there was no reflection, just a shimmering yellow light. Finally, a tall, elderly woman entered the room. Her walking cane had more girth than her legs, and she was rail thin. She wore a short, blue dress, and her silver hair was in a pixie haircut. She walked over to Mrs. Salazar's body, looked under the sheets, then said,
Are you ready?
Mrs. Salazar waited, not sure what the woman in blue meant. Then the woman in blue turned, looked directly at her, and said,
I said, are you ready? I'm sorry, do you mean me? Can you see me?
Of course. Oh dear, look at you, you're shaking. Here, this can take the edge off. The blue woman pulled a small bottle out of her purse, took several swigs herself, then handed it to Mrs. Salazar, who was amazed to see she had arms and legs again, and a rather frumpy yellow dress. She took the bottle, raised a toast, and drank.
Oh, Meyerberry wine?
It's your favorite, the blue woman said with a wink, her eyes being replaced by blue mist. Mrs. Salazar turned back to the mirror and was surprised to see she was no longer Mrs. Salazar, but a short, elderly woman in a yellow dress with multiple horizontal pleats. She wore a yellow, floppy hat that covered her eyes, with a large, bulbous nose sticking out.
Oh, my!
There you are. I figured the wine would bring you out, the blue goddess said to the yellow goddess. How was your sabbatical? It turns out that even goddesses need a break from time to time, so they, on rare occasions every few eons, take turns living as a mortal. It's refreshing to get away from the demands of being a deity, and also a good reminder of what mortals go through.
Oh, wonderful! I fell in love, got married, and raised a family.
Oh, you're married? To how many?
Well, just the one, of course.
Boring. The blue goddess shivered at the thought of monogamous relationships.
And they've invented this thing called nachos. I rather like them. You should try it next time. They're spicy.
I only like spicy when the clothes come off.
Oh, stop it. You're terrible. So, how have you been?
Busy, but I don't want to talk about work. I have, plans. I hear there's a bang-up wedding coming up on Planet Waldorf.
Oh, really? Will there be Meyerberry wine?
One way to find out. Shall we crash it?
Oh, let's. Also,
The door opened, and in walked Wendell. He pulled up a chair next to the bed, oblivious to the two goddesses in the room. Who is this tall glass of water?
he was my doctor. Now shush. I want to hear what he says.
Hi, Mrs. Salazar. I just wanted... I know you can't hear me, but before I leave, I just wanted to say thank you for being brave. You see, if I don't pass this residency, it's considered, about the contracts and the killbots.
Oh, horrible things.
And my fiancée, Gail, is back on Earth waiting for me.
Oh, more monogamy?
Boring.
Shush.
And I don't think I can do it. And I'm scared. I'm really scared. But you knew you were dying, and you were so calm and brave all the way until, well, and I want to be brave like you, but I'm not. I'm not brave, but I want to try like you, so thank you. Thank you for showing me bravery. He sat there quietly, wiping away tears. He didn't notice when the yellow goddess cupped his head in her hands, or when her fingers glowed into Wendell's body. And for a brief moment, Wendell's eyes glowed yellow sparks. But Wendell felt it. Somewhere, deep inside of him, he felt it. It was a surge of something. Courage, determination, grit. Without realizing, he sat up straighter and squared his shoulders. You know what? Maybe I can. No, not maybe. I can. I will. I will finish this residency, get back to Earth, and I will marry Gail. Wherever you are, Mrs. Salazar, I hope you're happy. Goodbye. With that, the goddesses turned into silver mist and disappeared. A discount story time, discount idea. I once hired a dog walker. A little while later, a dog came to my door and said,
I walked here. That will be $25.
Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you haven't listened to Season 1, this episode you just heard feeds into episode 49 of Season 1, the season finale, Something Yellow, Something Blue. So if you want to, give it a listen. I'll also put the link to that episode in the show notes. As always, if you're enjoying the show, please send it to somebody. We don't have anything in the discount mailbag for this week, but I am letting you know that I am starting to put together the outlines and character sheets and all that good stuff for Season 3, and I am really excited about it. I'm not going to tell you anything yet, but it is based on one of my all-time favorite movies. Ooh, what is it? Well, you'll just have to keep following along to find out. Now, if you want to take a guess at what movie the next season will be based on, feel free. You can drop me a line by clicking the link in the show notes or email me at mail@discountstorytime.com. Well, that's it for this week, and until next time, be sure to play nice with others, be super duper kind to yourself, and as always, remember to laugh. Bye! If you're enjoying this show, please consider supporting Discount Storytime. And there's several ways you can do this. If you can, buy me a coffee, which is a tip jar for independent content creators to help them keep going. The link is in the show notes. Or, podcasts depend on word of mouth to grow. Recommending this show to others helps immensely. I cannot stress that enough. Or, writing in and sharing your thoughts about the show. I am also considering starting a Patreon where subscribers can access bonus content. And if that's something you might be interested in, please contact me and let me know what you might like. Maybe a decal or bumper stickers, or access to a monthly short story, or something else. Click on the link in the show notes to send me a message, or email me at mail@discountstorytime.com. Again, thank you so much for being a supporter. Bye!